Good evening and welcome to Undoing I Do with Stephanie and Ade. I'm Stephanie Hunnell, the owner of the Hunnell Law Group in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and your co-host for this evening.
And I am Adela Sherilyn Dow, the owner of the law offices of Adela Sherilyn Dow in Staten Island, New York. Hey, friend, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am okay. We didn't do our first show of the month because I had a death in my family. My grandmother passed away, so Stephanie gave me a little bit of a respite that week.
Yeah,
I
we have to
appreciate it.
let you mourn.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that I'm dealing with that, but everything else is fine. I got to give a shout out to all my clients who have sent me flowers and notes. And Stephanie, thank you for the card. I really appreciate everybody thinking about us at this point. But we are here to talk about something really fun to me. I mean, because my name isn't on the lawsuit.
This is one of your shows, isn't it?
This is one of my shows I'm watching right now. Okay. Not as we speak, but it's on right now. The season has started already. And this is Real Housewives of Atlanta. And this is the lawsuit that NeNe Leakes' boyfriend, paramour, I like the word paramour, and her paramour's wife has filed against her for alienation of affection, child. Alienation of affection, that she stole her man.
$100,000 worth.
I'm feeling like, is that all he's worth? Was he only worth 100,000? Like, couldn't we have beefed
So
that
I
up?
feel like that. Yeah, I feel like I don't know how long they were married, but I feel like $100,000 is not a lot.
And here's the thing, right? So, first of all, my mom always told me that you can't steal anybody's man. Like, how am I stealing? He came over to me. Now, this is not right. If you know that the man is married, you need to check your morals. Okay, we're not here to be the moral police, but you need to check yourself. But yeah, my mom always told me that you can't steal nobody's man.
Yeah, I think didn't she release a statement? Actually, not your mom, but NeNe Leakes, that said something exactly that. Like, you can't steal nobody's up here stealing your man. I think she said.
She did, and she was saying nobody's trying to take somebody else's problems, hunty is what she said.
I love her, by the way.
So do I. Ever since she said I'm rich, bitch, I mean, I was in. Ever since she said that, I was in.
For me, was the first season when she was like, I'm about to get a DNA. I don't know why. Her accent and everything. I was just like, I love you right now.
Yeah. NeNe has changed a whole lot in these seasons, though. Like, you've watched the progression. NeNe has gotten a lot of surgery. But this whole situation about alienation of affection, first of all, it used to be a thing in New York. I'm not going to talk about New Jersey. It used to be a thing in New York, but it was abolished like in the 1800s in New York, the late 1800s. So, and I believe that New York was the first state to abolish the alienation of affections claim. So, and Mr. NeNe, whatever he wants to call himself, I forgot his name, but his wife would not have been able to file if this had been filed in New York initially, because back in the day, right? Because only men could claim against other men for stealing their wives, because their wives were their property.
That fits in with what our laws used to be like.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So what about New Jersey?
So, I didn't actually look up. I didn't really go way far back in New Jersey. You just can't do it now, for sure. Now, New Jersey is a no-fault state. So if you know when they had it and when they abolished it, please jump in, because I didn't look it up this time. But I do know you can't do it now. It's a no-fault state in New Jersey. There is a cause of action for adultery. So you can plead adultery, and when you do that, you have to serve the other person, and you have to prove that there's been, some sort of intercourse. It's not just that there was a relationship. You actually have to prove that there's some sort of intercourse. So they
can't just be hanging out. Okay.
Yeah. You have to, you have to have proof in this day and age. You probably have to have a video or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to have the girlfriend that was come in and testify and say, oh, yep, we did do that.
We did, and then I found out about you, and so that's why I'm here right now. Because there's nothing like a woman scorned.
Or
Hell
I
hath
found out
no
about
fury.
Yep, or I found out about girlfriend number 2 or 3, so I
So now I'm here. Support. I'm team wife. I'm all team wife all the way.
there is nothing worse than when the girlfriends and exes all get together against the guy. Oh, yep.
And start comparing notes. Okay.
Yep.
Look, not everybody can be a cheater. Okay, man or woman, not everybody can be a cheater. You all need to think about this before you are going out and collecting people to have in your harem, whether they're male or female or other. You need to think about this. Not everybody can cheat.
You know, I could not have the energy. I could not have like to be able to compartmentalize and not, you gotta juggle. You have to juggle
It's a
like two
lot
separate
of
lives.
juggling. Mm-mm.
And your cell phone's dinging or something, and you gotta like make sure you're not checking it. I
Right.
couldn't.
And like, and is there a mechanism to not have the message come up on your phone? Because in my house, the messages come up, and I'm like, yeah, like what's on the message? I mean, this is a lot there's a lot of maneuvering that you have to do.
Yes. Yes.
So in New York, of course, we do have an adultery ground. You do have to show that there is motive, opportunity, and intent, and so on and so forth, right? You do. And the majority of people do not file on, well, the people who do file on adultery just do it for a cathartic reason. And of course, you don't have to bring the other spouse, not the other spouse, the cheating person in, the paramour. You don't have to bring that person into the case. But if you want some drama, you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody's getting any money for that. And I'm going to tell you, I've had this conversation with a couple of friends of mine. My thought process is that I would have given her this 100,000. Like, I'm NeNe. I would have probably just said, you know what? Sign this NDA right here. I'm not dealing with all of this.
So, by the way, her counsel fees are going to probably exceed that.
That's my point.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, maybe she will end up doing something, or maybe this will be just some free publicity, because I don't think she's going to look bad, coming out of this. So just some, some additional publicity for her. But like, give her 75, walk away. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for the U.S. and the people covers. Thank you for filing.
Yeah. I appreciate you, boo. Here's your fifth 75.
Right.
Even the 100 really is probably nothing to her at this point.
I feel like the 100 is nothing to her. Okay. Have you seen her newest house? I feel like the 100 is nothing. And I think I would have just ran this lady her money, because why be bothered going through all of the shenanigans? That said, if she does not run this lady her money and this thing goes to trial, I will be watching this 100%.
I will be like the Johnny Depp trial.
And now there are other states that have these alienation of affection statutes. There are, it was outlawed, like I said, in New York, but there are 7 other states that have these statutes. Hawaii, Illinois, Mississippi, shout out to Elarita Coleman if you're watching, New Mexico, North Carolina, South Dakota, and Utah. I can understand Utah. I definitely understand Utah.
I wouldn't understand Utah because they have all the polygamy going on over there.
That's why I understand Utah.
I sort of feel like that would be one of the states then that says it's only a man that can bring that cause of action.
No, because, see, this is the thing. There's a whole bunch of polygamists in Utah, but I don't think it's legal. I still don't think it's legal there. So
I don't
think it is. I don't think it is. It's been a while since I watched Big Love. I need to.
Me too.
Did you watch that show? Do you remember that show?
A long time ago.
A long time ago. I'm aging myself. It was on HBO. But I don't think it's legal there. And I think that's why, oh my God, what's the guy? The Sister Wives guy?
Sister
Wives. The guy with the hair, Cody, that's his name. I think that's why Cody had to like flee. Remember, they had to move, and then they ended up in somewhere else, like in Vegas or something. I don't know where they ended up. I want to know what Cody does for a living though, because how does he? afford all these houses. You've seen these houses?
But a couple of his wives work too, I think.
Yeah, a couple of his wives work. Yep, they do. They need to, because I mean, do they contribute to that? Because these are some nice houses that some of them have. So I
Yeah.
just want to know.
Uh-huh.
I just
Yeah,
wanna
I
know.
don't remember. And that was another one I used to watch that I haven't watched in ages. But I want to go back to your North Carolina reference. So in 2010, I don't know if you remember, but in 2010, a woman, what was her name? Anne Lundquist, sued the paramour. 33-year marriage. She won $9 million.
I did not know. What?
$9 million was her judgment for loss of affection and consortium.
I want to know whether she got the money, though. Did she get the money? Because did the other person most likely, like when people cheat, they don't usually cheat up. So
yeah, I don't think. I mean, look, I can't even imagine that she would have, because this was not a celebrity or anything like that. This was just a regular person. They'd been married for 33 years. So
how did they even come up with the sum? How do you come up with 9 million? Just like I'm wondering how NeNe's boyfriend's wife came up with 100,000. I'm wondering how you come up with 9 million too, especially if you've been married for 33 years. That's a long time. So I'm assuming that you're at least in your 50s, 60s. Yeah. Were you really going to get another $9 million out of that person if they lived?
I can't even imagine, like, unless you were married when you were like, 15.
Right, which is possible. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I feel like this is an Amber Heard judgment, though. Like, I feel like it's one of those. Because we all know that Amber does not have no daggone millions of dollars like that to give Johnny. So,
no.
But a lot
it's
of
going to be the way of the pledge.
She changed the whole definition of the word pledge, okay? Changed the entire definition of the word. Merriam-Webster, no, you all are mistaken. But, so $9 million. I think that people really do this type of stuff, though, because they're emotionally hurt. I don't think that they do it for the money. I think that they do it for the vindication of it all.
I agree with Yeah, I agree with you. And I think what you said earlier about filing in talking about New York, when they just file it for some cathartic reason. I do, you're hurt, you're angry, you want to put this in there. I know the times since there's been irreconcilable differences, I think I want to say maybe I put it in complaints twice.
Yeah, I agree.
Like maybe 2. I don't even think it's 3. But in all those, both of those instances, I always pled irreconcilable differences, and then I pled adultery because it made my client happy, and that's what she wanted, or he wanted. Right. And then at the end of the day, we end up settling, and we end up amending to just irreconcilable differences.
Yeah,
on the day.
I mean, and if you do it that way, you don't end up spending any extra money. It's not even a page more of ink. But to go to trial over these things, this is when I'm just, I think I'd rather just sue my husband for the equitable distribution and get some money. And all realize that adultery has no impact on how much money you're going to get.
Correct.
You do not get more money because you prove that your wife, husband, or spouse was just cheating or cavorting around with somebody else. You don't get more money.
Nope, doesn't matter. It's just another means or an avenue to sue for a divorce. It's just the cause of action for divorce. Just like 18-month separation. What do we all always used to do? Extreme cruelty. When we didn't have irreconcilable differences, we did like a soft soap extreme cruelty. I remember is what we called it.
Yeah. In New York, we did before we had irretrievable breakdown, we did constructive abandonment, which is a lack of sexual intercourse for a year or more. So many lies. People get divorced, they file for divorce and still sleeping with each other. So it was a whole bunch of lies being told. But hey,
it
worked. It worked. But yeah, in this particular case, I think that the only reason why this person filed this is because the paramour is NeNe Leakes. I
Mhm.
don't think that this kind of application would have been filed were it not NeNe. But I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. There's tons of people out there who really want to do that right fighting and that morals,
Mhm.
type of dig your heels in on what's right type thing. To me, once you realize that the person doesn't want you anymore, why are
Move
you
on.
bothering? Why
Mhm.
bother? And I'm no judgment to anybody who really thinks that it's important, but at the end of the day, I think it's far more important to get your mental health in order and move the hell on.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I actually, with clients, when they come in right after finding out that their spouse has cheated, I tend to make them wait a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's calm down a little bit. Yes, we will file this complaint. Not to worry. Let's we slow the process down a little bit because it takes a little while for you to adjust and realize that you can't make decisions in anger,
That's right.
in hurt, because you're not making the best decisions for yourself. And really, that is what our job is. We're supposed to guide our clients to make the best decisions for their future. And when you're reacting, you're not making the best decision for your future.
It's true.
Mhm.
It's absolutely true. You're not. And at the end of the day, when you make these bad types of decisions, you also add to your attorney's bottom line. You are lining their pockets,
Mhm.
lining their pockets. And it's
Yep.
just, wouldn't you rather spend that money on your kids or yourself?
I would rather them spend that money on their kids or themselves sometimes because, by the
Mhm.
way, those things are aggravating. When you have to fight
Completely.
something that's out of principle instead of, a reasoned decision, those are really hard. I mean,
Yep.
they take a toll.
They do. They
Mhm,
do. And most, again, most good attorneys, they really want to resolve your case for you. They don't want you sitting in a tailspin, like circling the drain. It's just not. It's not beneficial for you, and it's
mhm,
actually not beneficial for the attorney either. Look, some attorneys will come out there and have no problem making some asinine arguments. Me, I like to win, and I like
mhm.
my reputation. I like my reputation to be like, oh yeah, she goes in there, she does it.
Yep.
I don't want it to be that. Oh Lord, here's Dow coming. What's she gonna come up
Mhm.
with today? What's she gonna make up today?
I literally was just saying this to a client. They were talking about his options about a post judgment application, and I was giving him his options. And I said, look, this is if we're going to pony back on something that's real and tangible, then we can do that. But this claim that you're trying to make, I don't think you're going to go anywhere with it. You're going to waste your time, your effort, your money. Yes, I agree. There's probably some injustice going on with the husband and wife, male, female type role, but you're not going to get the vindication you want. And guess what? You're going to have to pay for me to go and file this application. And we're not going to necessarily win because I'm making no promises. And in fact, I'm telling you, you're probably not going to win if we go in. And I don't like to file those applications. I just don't.
No,
I,
no, I don't. I
Mhm,
don't. I don't like to file those applications. And it's interesting because people will say, well, don't you want to make the money on this? No, sure, we like to make a living. I don't need to make a living advancing stuff that's idiotic. I just
mhm,
don't need to do that.
mhm,
I don't need to do that, and the client doesn't need to either. Look,
mhm,
it just causes them more stress, more agita, and again, it elongates the time that it will take for them to get on with their lives.
mhm.
So it's just
Agreed.
not worth it.
Agreed. And then if they have to file something in the future and they filed something that's pretty frivolous, guess what? You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt on things. And I know from my experience doing this, I think some judges oftentimes will give me the benefit of the doubt if something is a little, because they know I try not to file things that are just like
Right.
I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall.
That's right. And that's very true. I was in front of a judge today who said, no, I think, yeah, you'll get this, you'll get it done. I know you'll get it done. Right.
Mhm.
You need to be, you need to be on the side of the table where the judge is like, yeah, I have confidence in your attorney. when the judge, when you have to go to court and the judge doesn't say anything about the attorneys, that's when you got to wonder. Most judges say, oh, you got professional attorneys, you have experienced attorneys, they know what they're doing, so on and so forth. When the judge is silent about your attorney, it might really be because they don't have anything good to say about that person and their abilities. Yeah. But so how do you think this case is going to go down? Do you think it's going to go to trial, or do you think she'll settle it?
You know, I sort of feel like she's going to milk this for a little while to be in the, you know, to be in the spotlight for a little bit. But I do think it'll end up settling.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think just one day we're going to stop hearing about it because it'll just quietly go away.
Oh, well, see, I don't want that much quiet because, you know, I like the drama.
By the way, I loved the drama of the other trial, so I was sad to see it go.
Sad to see it go. Oh my goodness, I was sad to see it go too. Look, people in my office, we were all talking on Teams about it. You know, look, it was so interesting. Can you believe she said da 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 da, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that this trial will have as much fanfare, right? Yeah. Because I mean, that was Johnny Depp, right? Nobody really cared about it being Amber Heard. It could have been she could have been anybody.
Correct.
Johnny Depp was going to get all of this publicity, right? Quite frankly, I never even heard of Amber Heard prior to this trial, so there's that.
Aside from like the drama, like all of they were 2 train wrecks, and so that was sadly entertaining to watch. And I hate to admit that, but that's true. I mean, they're both some train wrecks, and you know, but I loved watching his attorney. Camille.
Big up to Camille, because Camille just got a
hi Kim.
Hey Kim.
Oh geez.
I actually had a family court judge advise me to reconsider my representation. Kim, when they tell you that, you got the wrong one, okay?
Wow.
And I know Kim personally. Hey, Grandma Kim. That's my my daughter's godmother's mom. And that was probably a long time ago, probably before there was the Google, you know, to look stuff up. And Kim, I hope that you fast, quick, and in a hurry ran and got you a different attorney. When your judge says that, it's time to go home. This is what the judge should have probably told Amber in this trial.
You may want to reconsider not your PR team, but your legal team.
You might want to reconsider that legal team, because they were making all kinds of crazy mistakes, crazy objections, just crazy stuff. But yeah, you know, with respect to this type of case, there will be I've heard attorneys tell people to go ahead and sue the other party in the affair. You know, look, we're here to tell you. Yes, she said that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago, and she did ran fast.
But no, go ahead.
Yeah, so they do, but we know that there's attorneys out there that will just say, let's file everything. And then when you're out of money, they're ready to be done with your case.
It's like Willie Nelson. You run out of money and I run out of time. It's like Willie Nelson. Yeah.
And it's also hard when, like, I mean, it's not all the time, but COVID times, I think people started to pivot and do different kind of work and take more, you know, cases. And so there's a lot of attorneys that are taking cases that they're not necessarily very familiar with. So they might think that this is something that you can file and make some money on. And it's really not.
It's really not. And notice that, you know, the states that have it, Hawaii kind of sort of surprised me, but the states that have it are really, you know, kind of almost, I'm surprised about Illinois too, actually, because Mississippi, of course, North Carolina, that's like Bible Belt, you know, area. But I am actually surprised about Hawaii and Illinois. I would think that Illinois would have gotten rid of that statute a long time ago. But that's just like, you know, some of these states might have this statute on the books just because it's been overlooked and nobody has thought about it. Aside from Utah, I don't think that that's the case in Utah. But, you know, we have laws on the book in New York that make adultery adultery is a crime in New York. You know, there's certain sex acts that people consider to be illegal that are actually crimes in New York, and nobody's going to file a lawsuit against you for this stuff.
There's a lot. There used to be, I don't know if it was a Facebook thing or a blog that would come out like every year with like random laws that are still on the books. And it would be like weird things. It's illegal to chew gum and read a book in the library in like Kentucky or something, like just completely ridiculous.
Yep.
So yeah, there are things that legislatures, they don't take the time to revamp it. And maybe that's the case in Hawaii. I don't know. I'm interested because that does surprise me.
Yeah, to Hawaii and Illinois surprised me. Mississippi, not so surprised. You know, these are places, but yeah, there's all kinds of. And so, no, if your spouse commits adultery, you cannot go to the DA's. Look, you can go to the DA's office if you want, but most likely the DA is not going to be trying to write out a whole. They're not going to be trying to indict. That's not probably
what's happening here?
Oh wait, more of the story. Okay.
Yeah, more story.
She said the only reason why she did not throw my case out was because of me. She was done apologizing to me for my husband and his attorney, but she said she should not have to apologize for me for my own lawyer. Oh my Lord. Geez.
That's a doozy.
That's a lot. I don't even know what to say.
No, I don't know that a judge would say that now.
It depends upon the judge. I think it depends upon the judge.
That's really hard because there's so many, judges get reported on now.
Judges get reported. People, you have to understand what Stephanie is talking about. So judges have the power to sanction attorneys. They have the power to sanction, litigants too, but they have the power to sanction attorneys for frivolous activities, so on and so forth. Judges get reported. Now they have the black robe. They are the ones seeing these attorneys day in and day out. They see their shenanigans. They can judge whether this person is acting in a unreasonable manner, right? And if they sanction some of these attorneys, the attorneys will go to the bar. The attorneys will go to the Office of Court Administration, and they'll start complaining about these judges when they're the ones in the wrong. I think it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. So Kim said that this attorney was always very late and was very rude to the court. There are some cases here in New Jersey. I shouldn't say some cases, but I'm going to say some cases in New Jersey where that happens quite often. The attorney's very rude. There's a case in particular where the attorney was extremely rude and posted things on social media. And then there was a big battle between the judge and the attorney. I think the attorney reported on the judge, and it was a long drawn out litigation. And it was happening during the course of a litigation. So there were things that were being filed. And I'm sure it cost that client tens of thousands of dollars because of what was going on and the dynamics between the judge and the attorney. So, that kind of stuff does still happen. And if I recall, that judge issued like a 45-page decision on something, about that. And it's really rough. It happens.
It happens. And again, when you see that, you really need to get out of the case because like Stephanie said, it's going to cost you money. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when you actually would go a step back and talk about the representation too. If you have an attorney who is just so enmeshed in your case and everything is so emotional for them, you might think that that's the right thing for you because you really want somebody to be on your side. You want somebody to champion you. Mm-hmm. That's usually a disaster waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Disaster waiting to happen.
100% agree. Once the attorney becomes too personally involved in your case, then they lose perspective. And that's when you start losing money because now they're making decisions based on whatever their personal agenda is instead of what your best interests are or the best interests of your kids or the best interests of your case. Mm-hmm. Kim said she appreciated that, Judge. I'm sure you did, especially after you got your new attorney.
Right. So
Mhm.
now imagine if the judges are feeling hamstrung and they're feeling like they can't say anything and they just allow incompetence to walk in and out of their courtroom.
Mhm.
Imagine how many thousands of litigants get harmed because judges feel like they can't say anything. They need their jobs. They don't want to be battling, lawsuits and all kinds of ethics filings and all that. Yeah, there really needs to be a lot more thought put into these state disciplinary committees and
Mhm.
the way that they judge judges
Judge. Mhm.
for this type of thing. Look, there's plenty of terrible judges out there.
Mhm. There's a judge right now that was doing like doing some once a week or once a month subbing in the family part, and was telling litigants and the attorneys, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't read your case. I haven't been in family law for like 20 years or 15 years. I'm just here for one day. Like, was being honest with the litigants and the attorneys, and they're now under some disciplinary review. That judge is under disciplinary review for making those comments on the bench. Yeah, I mean, that's a problem, and it's also a reality because you and
Yeah.
I both know that they always put brand new judges in family law, like family
Yes,
law
they
doesn't matter.
do.
And we
Yes,
have
they
these,
do.
our family law cases are rough and there's emotion
Yes.
involved. You have to have
Yes.
the right temperament as as a family law judge in order to move cases along. You can't make
Yep.
a pendente lite decision that's too high or too low because then you're never going to get people to settle. Like, there's a balance to
That's
everything.
right. There's a balance to be struck, and they always, at least in New Jersey, they always, and New York now is dealing with this too. We all have judge shortages. That's number one,
Hmm. Yep.
right? So, and nobody just raises their hand to go to family law usually. So they put these brand new judges into family law to cut their teeth, and we have a couple of brand new judges in Staten Island, who actually are doing they're doing pretty well. They're doing
Hmm.
pretty well. But yeah, it's a scary place to be when you don't know what's going on. And family law is probably the only area of the law that intersects with so many other areas,
Hmm.
right? You need to know some insurance, you need to know some real estate, you need to know, pension, which is
Hmm.
federal ERISA law. You need to know about domestic violence, you need to know some criminal stuff.
Hmm.
It's
Bankruptcy
tax law,
sometimes, taxes.
bankruptcy.
Mhm.
Family law is not for the weak. So make sure that when you're thinking about filing against your husband or wife's or spouse's new boo, that you hire somebody who knows what they're doing, like Steph and
Yes.
I. And we'll tell you that we can't take that case. We can take the rest of it, but we won't be doing that.
Telling you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear is what we do.
That is
Yeah.
exactly right. That is exactly right. Thank you all for watching.
See you guys in a couple weeks.
Bye.